134 points. That was Pat Lafontine in 1982-83. Mario Lemieux was the hottest player in the country, but the fan favorite at Montreal was Patty Lafontine, who we meet with Scott Morrison.
My son still laughs. He says, "Dad, how come you use a wooden stick?" I said, "Because it's old school. I was out of the game when they came out with these composite sticks."
No kidding.
So,
all right, no pressure.
No pressure, eh?
Top shelf.
Think we can go there?
Nothing to it.
Should stay retired, though. I was aiming for the other side.
It's been 10 years since a series of concussions forced Pat Lafontine to retire from the NHL at age 33. He could have felt cheated, but instead he was grateful for what he had, and to this day is determined to give something back and make a difference.
At the end of the day, no one's going to ask you how many goals and how many assists you had or how many championships you won, although those things are wonderful and they're great. And there's that competitive spirit when we play this game, and such a great game. But really, at the end of the day, I think we're all here when our time machines go off, when it hits us. What did you do with what you learned? Did you help others? Did you give back? Did you try to make a difference? I was asked to go visit a young boy named Robert Schwegler in Buffalo, and I've told this story, but we used to play, and he was in isolation, and he was a special boy, and we'd play video games together. And I would take off my cap and gown and we'd go 2 or 3 days a week, and I remember the nurse grabbing my arm and saying, "Thanks for coming to play with Robert." And I said, "He's my friend, it's the least I can do." And she grabbed my arm and started crying and said, "You don't quite understand." And she said, "It's one of the only times this young boy smiles is when you're here."
Robert passed away 6 months later, but that memory and others from the time Lafontine spent with sick kids and their families inspired him to create a charity called Companions in Courage, which raises money to build interactive rooms in children's hospitals.
Let's create an environment stemming back from playing games and meeting kids at children's hospitals that kids can escape to. A safe haven, a place they could call their own where no doctors can touch them, no nurses, no machines, but they could play games and create art and create music. And
that's the Lions Den.
And that's the Lions Den. And the Lions Den is a place for courageous young kids to go and be kids again and forget what's happening to them and be connected with the outside world and talk to their teachers, their heroes, their friends, via computer, via video games. Just make it a really special room.
To date, there are 4 Lions Dens with 8 more planned for this year, and Lafontine is involved in the designing of each one.
People might be surprised that a hockey player that's been hit in the head as many times as Pat has actually has some great vision for architectural design. Every room that we create, they have the design team come in and the fabricators. Pat always leaves some extra touch to the room that leaves the professionals stepping back and saying, his suggestion made that room just a little bit better.
The goal is to have the rooms linked to dressing rooms in the NHL and other pro sports. Meantime, Lafontine works full-time to find sponsors and to raise money, competing in Ironman competitions and with an annual hockey tournament on his outdoor rink, involving actor Dennis Leary and former NHLer Glenn Anderson.
All it is pure passion for hockey. It's laughing in the locker room. It's pure shinny, 3-on-3, up and down, and you can't wipe a smile off anybody's face. And we're all kids for the weekend, just playing hockey. All different levels. There's CEOs, there's guys who do different jobs, there's guys who run foundations, there's guys who used to play pro hockey, just come together on an equal sheet of ice and just have a lot of fun. And we raise money for the Companions in Courage Foundation, the Leary Firefighters Foundation. And I don't think it gets much better than that. It's one weekend a year where you get to do what you love, everybody shares the passion, and you're raising money for a higher purpose.
So what's next for you?
Part of me that at some point I think it would be a lot of fun to get involved back in the game and to be a part of building the group of guys that you need to build a team. I once heard a great line about what really keeps us going is the mystery of life. I don't know what's next, but I do know that the Companions in Courage is going to be at the forefront. being around my children, still being on the ice and laughing with the guys. I feel very lucky what the game has allowed me to do. And the next chapter is going to be fun too.
Lafontaine, the Lion-hearted. Kelly is coming up next on Hockey Night in Canada. It's 3-1 Montreal.